again, everybody, and welcome to Prep Time. I'm Justin Barrientos, and today I'm standing outside Hope Lutheran High School here in Winona as we take a look back at a record-setting career from one of these Patriots. We'll also have stories today on the Winona Senior High School girls hockey team and the Winona Senior High School girls basketball team. But we begin today with a record-setting career performance from Hope Lutheran's Jason Klug. Klug went over the 2,000 point mark in the game near the end of this season at Schaefer Academy in Rochester, but Klug's success in basketball does not come as a surprise to those who knew him, as his love for the game started early on.
I first started playing basketball when I was in second grade, and I went to travel with the national team, the 8th grade team, when I was in second grade, and I felt pretty special. I haven't got into a game.
He was spunky back then. He would, for example, we were playing a 7th and 8th grade team and we were winning by a lot at halftime. So I started all the younger kids. Well, we had a team of 10. One of them was a second grader. But so we're up by 20 and he decides to press on his own. So the other team wasn't too happy about that. So we're screaming at Jason, get back, and he doesn't hear us, and he's just all over the ball, jumping back and forth. So that was second grade already.
I always talk about it with Mr. Sandcork, and I always just bring it up randomly. But when I was in second grade, he gave me the opportunity to be on the 7th and 8th grade team, and I would always sit right next to him. Like after a timeout, I'd make sure I get the seat right next to him. And what coach would do is in nationals, or when we went to nationals, was he would take all his 5 starters out, put them on the bench instead of burning a timeout, and that was my time to shine. So I went in there for about 10 seconds just to get the other team, or our starters, a break and talk about strategy-wise. So I got in there just about 10 seconds in the game, throughout the game, which was really cool. I started my passion right there for basketball, and at the end of the game, so there's a blowout or whatnot, I got in the game, and I just love basketball ever since then, and Mr. Sandberg's been helping me ever since.
He was very intense back then. Even when you'd have him in the classroom, he'd come up to the 7th and 8th grade classroom and take on the 7th and 8th graders in chess. And he was very intense. He'd be like, sit down, let's play. Personality right from the beginning.
So you could say Rocky Sandcork knew what he was getting into when he persuaded Jason Klug to choose Hope Lutheran High School over Winona High or Cotter.
Jason and I talked, and of course we were going to support him no matter where he went, but we wanted him to come to Hope to help us continue on the pioneering efforts of mainly, for me, was spreading the gospel. Without people and strong Christians in the school, then you slowly fade away. So we needed those strong Christian backbone families to attend Hope so that we could continue on with our academics and our athletic program, which was pretty young, which is still, but pretty young at the time.
When I was in 8th grade, I talked to Mr. Sandcork. He was my teacher, and we talked about, the possibility of coming to Hope, the opportunities I had here. But he also realized that I had opportunities, maybe going to senior high and getting more on the public scale of, the community and getting noticed more, because he knew I wanted to eventually play college basketball.
The smallness of our school sometimes gives a fear to athletes, like, I'm not going to be a star, or I won't get a scholarship or anything like that, and that's definitely not the case if you look at the history of our academics as well as athletics, with the kids making all-conference and going on to Winona State and South Dakota State.
What he told me was, I will never regret my decision to come to Hope. And he told me that over and over again. And it came down about 2 weeks before school started to know where I was going to go to school. And I just picked here. And, I said I was going to try it for the first year. And if it didn't work out, I was going to go to the senior high. And it all fell into place. I was so happy to have Coach Mesman here.
I was excited, and seeing the other young kids, and actually there was a few seniors with that group that had some size. So, I was excited about that. And seeing Jason's ability as an athlete and his basketball IQ was exciting, not only being a good basketball player, but understanding what he was doing as well. So that's always great to have.
I played with Jason for 3 years now at Hope, and he's always trying to help you improve your game. He's always supporting you, trying to get you to take your game to the next level. Whenever you play with him, he makes you bring your game up.
With Coach Messman, Jason and players like Andrew Frotsky took a Hope Boys program to new heights in the 2012-2013 school year, winning the boys program's first ever playoff game against Leroy Ostrander.
We didn't know really what to expect because we had 10 days off going into that game. We knew it was a good opportunity to play in a home game. Had beaten Leroy twice during the year, so we needed to play our game. But with that time off, I didn't know quite what we were going to get. But, For me, I was really proud for the guys because, I knew that was one of their goals beginning of the year, try to win a playoff game. And what a big deal it is for Mr. Sandcork and Hope Lutheran.
It was a great accomplishment for the team. Never happened before for Hope, so it was just kind of nice to be the first team to be able to do that.
There's going to be a little bit more amped up pressure for our team, but having Brady Meyer as a senior, Andrew Frosty having a great season, and me contributing, I didn't really think that we were going to lose, but I knew that if we get this win, it's going to be pretty special for our program, and we got the win, and it just felt great, and everyone was there to support us, and we had a good time.
The teachers and classmates were very supported. I'm proud of us that we won. It's always been the girls that have been winning before, so it was nice for the boys team to get a playoff win.
Klug then followed one history-making event with another, becoming the first Winona High School basketball player to reach 2,000 points in a career.
Last year when we figured out he was close to 1,000 at the beginning of the year, we were getting excited about that, and we were thinking about 2,000, we're like, yeah, that's a long way off. And then this year we got closer to it, and we did a little math, and we figured out it'd be like 27 points a game, and he was right there, so we knew he could make it there.
When I went over 1,000, I thought it was really cool because I've never thought about it when I was in 7th or 8th grade going over 1,000. Andrew Frosky and Mr. Sandcork were figuring out, the statistics of it, and knowing I was that close, it was just really cool to see that I had a pretty good chance of getting it early in the year. I didn't think about 2,000, but that 1,000 was just really cool. The recognition right before the holiday tournament and us being in the holiday tournament really was, cool for me to see of how many people are paying attention to our school, and the congratulation that I got from everybody was just really sweet to see.
What was exciting about it is he got a lot of press, but he was always giving it up to his coaches, his other players. I'm sure he mentions his parents in there because they were a big part of him being able to do all of this stuff. Being one of his coaches, being able to see that was a lot of fun because we've been through a lot together, with his decision of coming and then not having very good seasons to winning playoff games and last second shots. So we've learned a lot together. The life lessons that he'll take to college with him is huge.
The game that Jason went over the 2,000-point mark was February 13th at Schaefer Academy in the last game of the regular season.
It was great. It happened very quickly. I think first possession, he hit a 3 and then was fouled. So the anticipation was that he was going to make that, but made 1 out of 2 and was fouled immediately, I think, the next possession, and got it out of the way pretty early. So, we stopped the game and we all went out there and then gave him a congratulatory hug, and, and then we went back on. That's kind of the way Jason was. This is a big deal to him, but he took it in a very mature way and got right back to the business of winning that game, which is the most important thing to him.
The one time I was a part of something like that happened was against Lanesboro, and I was in 7th grade, and he dunked it and got 1,000 points. So having this happen the other way around was just something, something I'll never experience probably again, and something that I will be able to remember always. And everybody coming and congratulating me. The coach from the other team, saying something nice about me after I made the free throw. Everybody standing up and congratulating me. It felt right, and it was really cool to see. And now I was happy to get back to the game though.
What does Jason mean to Hope Lutheran, and what is his place in the school's history?
Oh man, just about everything. You should see the way he treats freshmen in the hallway. Not like you might think. A senior might think. He's awesome. He's been that way, since 2nd grade. When he was a 5th grader, he was passing the ball to 2nd graders, giving them a chance to shoot. He does that in the hallway. He's, buddies. He sits at any table. He invites everybody to the, at prom. He's encouraging kids to come out and dance. I mean, that's kind of odd, to compared to your typical cool Mr. Everything. That's huge leadership, huge maturity that he brings that we're going to miss next year.
Jason, he started as a 7th grader in some games like that, so his name's been out there a long time, and then you start putting numbers with it and different situations, winning playoff games, and being in the WSU holiday tournaments brought some good pub for us. So anything helps, and hopefully, people see us and understand the community here at Hope and, want to become part of it.
You never replace a Jason Klug. Those guys are special. They got great gifts that they offer the school, so you'll never replace them. So we'll be missing that. Basketball, academic, the hallway, is huge. The big laughs in math class. You hear Jason and everybody's giggling. And So you'll miss that, but he's mentored quite a few people.
Jason Klug plans to play basketball in college, and if given the opportunity, he'd like to try college football as well. Coming up here on Prep Time, we'll take a look at another athlete from Winona that is going to pursue college athletics, that being Winona multi-sport athlete Carly Moran.
Stay in touch with HBC, service you can trust.
All my experiences with HBC have been positive. They're local, they're innovative, they care, they have great customer service. For us, we have 18 locations, and so connectivity is really important. It doesn't matter whether you're banking or a retailer or providing HBC services, customer service is always a factor, and again, that's what you get with HBC.
Service you can trust.
Check out Twins Talk with Senior Smoke, brought to you by Gordy's BP every Monday at 11 a.m. to get insight on the 2014 Twins from the greatest Panamanian pitcher not named Mariano Rivera, Juan Berenguer of the 1987 World Series champion Minnesota Twins. By listening in for the Berenguer Word of the Week and submitting it to seniorsmoke at hbci.com, you'll be entered into a monthly drawing for a set of 4 tickets behind home plate at Target Field. That's Juan, the Berenguer Word of the Week, and a shot at the free Twins tickets all season long on Twins Talk with Senior Smoke, brought to you by Gordy's BP, auto repair and towing 7 days a week on Huff Street in Winona.
Join me, Justin Barrientos, for Prep Time on HBC 25. We'll take a close look at area high school athletes, coaches, administrators, and even go back to explore past athletes and stories that built the history of your favorite prep teams. Stories you won't find anywhere else. You can catch Prep Time at the following times only on HBC 25.
Look at the brows on that.
That's a hog, man.
If you have a question or comment about this or any other Prep Time show, or you have a story idea that you think that we should cover, you can always email us at preptime@hbci.com. We'd love to hear your comments and your story ideas. And welcome back to Prep Time. Next up, we'll take a look at the Winona Senior High School girls hockey program and some packages that were put together by HBC's Ty Schwartzlow. First up is a look at Carly Moran, a standout in 3 different sports, but hockey is the sport that she will pursue in college.
Well, I first started playing hockey when I was about 4, so it's always been like a huge role in my life and just a huge passion of mine. And I'm actually going to play in college next year, so it's definitely a passion of mine, and it's just a huge role in my life, and I've always just loved it, and I'm obviously really involved in athletics. I play soccer, I run track. That's just like one of my hobbies, and my older brothers both played hockey, and it's just been in my life since I was a little one. I always went to their games, watched them play, and it just inspired me. So it's always about having fun and enjoying what you do out there and the people you're with, and it doesn't always necessarily mean the scoreboard or games won. It's just the people you're with and enjoying your time together on the bus, at tournaments, in the hotel room, things like that that I'll look back and really remember.
Besides Carly Moran, what else did the Winona High girls hockey program have this season?
We have a young team with some old veterans, so we're really trying to find the mix and the harmony of having some of the young kids and the older kids just feel each other out, Hopefully down the road we show improvement and keep improving each and every game. Having somebody that's, knows some systems and knows some plays and can help some of the younger kids, it's almost like having a big sister, so it's really nice to have some of that veteran leadership out there, especially, we consider ourselves a 7 through 12 program, and some of the upperclassmen do a great job with some of the younger kids.
Why is there such an age range in the girls hockey program at Winona Senior High School?
Because we just haven't been able to really jumpstart our youth girls hockey program. We do have a 7th, 8th, 9th graders that usually would typically be playing on a youth hockey team. So right now we have such a mixture of kids all the way from 7th grade all the way up to 12th grade. And we're working on the younger, U10 girls, but pretty much it's open to anybody who wants to come and learn and play hockey. So that's why we have such a wide range, because we probably haven't quite done our best job at the youth level of trying to get some girls hockey teams the last couple of years.
When I was a youth, had great coaches helping. We were actually mixed in with the boys. I remember me and Shelby Tice were always up there knocking around the boys, so that always helped us with physical play. And it's just been a really great program. Like you said, the U12 districts, that was a huge success. And I mean, it's deteriorating a little bit, but hopefully we can just find that fire in the little kids and just inspire them in a way.
They had the U12 district championship, and that goes way back when Jim Huffman was the coach on the team here. And I think there's 3 war veterans that are still on that team. And I think these kids are like 7 or 8 years old. And so they've been with us for a long time. I know Carly Moran, Tessa Skogabo, and Molly Sandvik were all on that team. And you know, all these girls have been with us since U10. So we had a U10 and a U12 team that we coached with Scott Halverson. And so these tides go back for not just high school years. They go back when these kids were 6, 7 years old. So it's really fun to see them grow.
I've been part of this program for like almost my entire life, and anything I can do to help or just to see these girls have a little success, and even if it's just little successes, like little personal goals that they achieve, not necessarily like state champions, or just little successes to see the program grow, I guess.
You want to have a good youth hockey program that will feed your high school program, and therefore having good numbers, maybe a U10, a U12 team, would feed the high school team. And that's sort of the direction we sort of went going backwards. The girls hockey was really popular and everybody wanted to come out at all ages, come out for hockey. And I don't think we got the steps in the right order yet, but hopefully we continue to grow that in that direction.
Next, we'll hear more about the Winona Senior High School girls basketball program this season, who finished 17-12, but was also the last team standing in the playoffs this season. That's coming up here on Prep Time.
Stay in touch with HBC, service you can trust.
All my experiences with HBC have been positive. They're local, they're innovative, they care, they have great customer service. For us, we have 18 locations, and so connectivity is really important. It doesn't matter whether you're banking or a retailer or providing HBC services, customer service is always a factor, and again, that's what you get with HBC.
Service you can trust.
Check out Twins Talk with Senior Smoke, brought to you by Gordy's BP every Monday at 11 a.m. to get insight on the 2014 Twins from the greatest Panamanian pitcher not named Mariano Rivera, Juan Berenguer of the 1987 World Series champion Minnesota Twins. By listening in for the Berenguer Word of the Week and submitting it to seniorsmoke at hbci.com, you'll be entered into a monthly drawing for a set of 4 tickets behind home plate at Target Field. That's Juan, the Berenguer Word of the Week, and a shout out to free Twins tickets all season long on Twins Talk with Senior Smoke, brought to you by Gordy's BP, auto repair and towing 7 days a week on Huff Street in Winona.
Look at the brows on that.
That's a hog, man.
Hi, I'm Dave Dickey, and I invite you to join me for Community Connection on HBC TV 25. Each week, I'll bring you stories that keep you connected with what's happening in your community. Whether it's the latest local government meeting, information on managing your finances, the big community celebration, or just introducing you to the characters from around town, HBC keeps you connected to life in your community. I hope you'll join me for Community Connection Sundays, Mondays, and Tuesdays at 4, 5:30, and 9:30 p.m. on HBC TV 25.
If you would like a DVD copy of Prep Time or any other production from HBC TV 25, you can give us a call at 474-5811 or email us preptime@hbci.com. And welcome back to Prep Time. The Winona Senior High School girls basketball team was another team that was an interesting mix of talent and personalities. As we said before the break, they were the last team standing in the playoffs, winning their first 2 playoff games, but then falling in their only playoff game in Rochester, a loss to Casson Manorville. How would head coach Tim Gleason describe this team in just one word?
Resilient would be the word I would say. I'm very impressed with, we got a lot of ages. You know, they span the whole high school in age-wise, and I feel like they've responded to each challenge and each bit of adversity they had, and they've come back and worked harder, and they've been very resilient in what they've done. We've been through our ups and downs, you know. Part of it is, you know, the group coming together. Part of it has been our schedule. You know, we played when we started the season. We played 7 games in 13 days. So, you know, you combined a team that really didn't know each other very well with that kind of schedule. You're bound to get some kind of inconsistency. Since the new year, I feel like we've been able to string some good, consistent practices together, and that we're playing much more team-oriented kind of basketball. I think in the type of team that we are right now, we're not, you know, I don't think we're a Wisconsin men's basketball team where you slow it down to a snail's pace and you plod in there, and you know, although they don't do that quite as much this year as they've done in the past. I think we're sort of in the middle, where there'll be times when we'll slow it down and be patient. There are other times when we'll try to speed the other team up and get them in places where they're not comfortable, and then be able to try to exploit that and try to get some easy baskets ourselves. This is a team, and we're going to win as a team. We're going to, you know, we're going to face adversity as a team, and that's always a challenge. I think, and no matter what the age and no matter what the time period, to get people to sacrifice some of their own for the betterment of a group. I really believe that's one of the things that separates this team from a lot of the other ones that are maybe our opponents, is that we're going to be as deep, and we'll try to play as many people as we can. I think it's dynamic and collective, and not necessarily just one person. I think a lot of our people who've been in the program bring different things. You know, Audrey leads by example. You know, she's going to work hard from the minute the ball's tipped to the end of the game. You know, not that the other girls don't do that, but I think they emulate some of the things they see from her. Greer Andrea, you know, Andrea's sort of behind the scenes kind of person that brings people in. She's one of those people who I think everybody likes. And Greer's willing to speak, and, you know, has been in leadership positions in other parts of her life, and that shows.
The Winona Senior High School Windhawk girls basketball team put together a pretty good season in spite of having some troubles early in the year. Coach Gleason talks about those early struggles.
I think it's been multifold. Some of it, like I said initially, was because we played so many games initially, in that sometimes it was fatigue creeping in. Sometimes it was a lack of, you know, just confidence. Sometimes it was a lack of continuity. You know, sometimes there were things that we were able to say, and, you know, things got better. There were other times when it was one of those things that was a struggle, and, you know, it took coming back to practice or getting to halftime for us to get better at that. But, you know, each time that we've faced that adversity, I really felt like we've been resilient, and that we've come back, we've answered that, we've looked people in the eye and said, okay, this is what we're going to be. Yeah, and that too, I think, is still evolving. That was our last game against Faribault, and you know, they did their best to try to take Audrey away and try to take her out of our half-court offense, and we had other people step up, and, you know, Hallie Hepner had 24 points that night, and you know, it wasn't just Hallie, it was other people who got Hallie the ball, put her in positions to score, and it was other people who were able to chip in and score. You know, if you looked at our box score, we have people with 4, 6, 8 points in there that were just able to, you know, and I think the team concept and the willingness to go and be, you know, I think early on in the year, if somebody had done that to us and taken Audrey away, we all would have looked around like, hey, you know, okay, now, you know, where do we go next? And there's a comfort level now, and maybe even a little confidence that they show on the floor of like, okay, if this isn't there, we'll go this way. And that's a real strength of what I think is developing with our team.
Coach Tim Gleason also looked back at the implementation of a full-court press around mid-year.
You know, it's one of those defenses that we've, you know, looked at it. We played it a little bit last year, and I like the places that it gets us back to. You know, I think anytime you look at something in a full court, you just got to see how it evolves back into a backcourt situation. It gives us some flexibility to do some things, you know, different with it, is that it doesn't have to look the same all the time. You know, we can stay in the same press, and it doesn't always have to do and be the same thing. You know, because I think most teams will find a way to beat something, and then after that, they'll just stay with that. You know, that's the way that they're going to beat it. If we can take some of those things away and make that press or mutate or change a little bit, I think we can still have it and be effective. But I really like what it does to us in the half-court situations. That it'll get us back to situations where we can continue to be aggressive.
That's all the prep time that we have for you today. I'm Justin Barrientos. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.